Hey everyone, and what a hectic day it was. Seriously, I've been on my laptop since 5:30 and I've been watching one thing or the other for the past 4.5 hours. First, I started watching F1. Congratulations to George Russell on getting the first position. Max Verstappen came second today, and although there were some problems with his car, but he was able to defend his second position. And third came Lando Norris. And the F1 season this year have been quite interesting as well. And the the race for the championship, drivers' championship, is intensifying. And let's see what happens. As of now, Oscar Piastri is on the first position with the highest number of points, and after him is Lando Norris, and after that is Max Verstappen. Let's see who wins and comes on top at the end of the season. So, and congratulations to McLaren on winning the Constructors' Championship. So, enough with F1. After F1, I started watching Barca versus Sevilla game, and what a disappointment and a frustrating way. No, what a disappointing game it was, and shockingly disappointing. And the way Barca was outclassed in this game, I mean, they didn't perform that bad against PSG the way they had performed today in today's match. We'll come to that later. And after the Barca match, I watched the Manchester City versus Brentford match. First half, decent, okay, a very city-ish game. Second half, extremely frustrating, and mm, I was just constantly either cursing or shouting, and that was the entire story of the second half. So coming to the Barca game, I'm not gonna lie, I only watched the first half of this game because by the time the second half started, the Manchester City versus Brentford game had also started, so I was focusing on that. But judging by the performance of Barcelona in the first half, I mean, it was a disastrous game for them. Today, Sevilla not only just dominated Barcelona, they were bullying Barcelona on the field. I mean, in the first half, Sevilla started very strong, and Barca was nowhere to be seen in the final third of Sevilla. Most of the chances that were created in the game were by Sevilla, and the penalty that was given, I think it was a 50-50 sort of situation. It could have gone either end. The decision could have gone either end, but the referee there decided to give it as a penalty, and I can understand why because the ball was not out of play; it was still in reach, and a cross could have been delivered from that position had Arau's leg had not entangled the attacker's feet. So I think, um, I mean, it was a fair penalty. So nothing wrong with that. But the second goal that game was quite disappointing performance by Barcelona, especially Jules Koundé. I think the entire Barcelona team was playing in a very lethargic way. It felt as if after the PSG game, their morals had completely dipped, and they were still recovering from that loss, and both physically and psychologically they were so poor and lethargic when it came to defending. Second goal, I think the attacker had clear cut chance and a proper finish by him to give Sevilla the lead. I mean, the amount of chances and amount of clear-cut chances that were created by Sevilla, I think they should have been up by 4-0 or 3-0 in the first half itself. The defending was so poor by Barcelona. I think the Sevilla attacker, Isaac Romero, yeah. So the Sevilla striker Isaac Romero, he missed a couple of easy chances which he should have converted, and there were some other chances that I mean would have gotten in, but thanks to the brilliant goalkeeping by Chesney, Barca was able to keep them at bay. But still, they were able to score two goals against us in the first half. In the first half itself, by the end of the first half, there was a great ball by Pedri, which was um, which was converted into a goal by Rashford. I mean, the only saving grace of today's Barcelona's performance was Chesney, Pedri, and Rashford. I think no other player was playing with the 100% capability, and which is which is exactly reflected in the final score, which was 4-1. And I think Barcelona was clearly missing Yamal and Rafinha. I mean, the kind of dynamism that both these players bring to the game um, is is what was lacking in today's game. I mean, Yamal, when he dribbles past, he's able to attract two or three defenders, which sort of creates a space for other players to exploit. And given the injury list of Barcelona, I mean, the picture for the future is quite gloomy, and I don't know how Hansi Flick will be able to manage with the squad. And let's hope for the best, possibly, but it is very difficult, and it seems very difficult, and coming. Tough times are ahead for Barcelona's fans. So let's see what happens, but wishing Barcelona the best. All right, coming to the Manchester City versus Brentford game, I mean, first half painted a very different story, and second half painted a very different story, and both the halves combined, it was a typical City game. So, talking about the first half, I mean, the first chance that we created, I mean, in the first half, the City performance was quite dominating, and it was most of the chances that were created were by City, and they controlled most of the possessions, and they took around 10 shots, out of which 5 shots were on target. And the first goal that came, it was a ball provided by Guardiola, and brilliant play by Haaland over there. I mean, he still had to do a lot, and he outmuscled the defender there, keeping the ball at his feet, and then a brilliant finishing by him. And this was the only goal that separated both the teams in the match today. And it was because of this goal that we got the 3 points that we got today. After that, after the goal, I mean, City were creating chances, and they were progressing the ball in the final thirds. But as typical City, they were making chances, but they were not at all clinical in the final third, and they were not at all clinical in providing that final touch to the ball. Because of which, I mean, the game got pretty intense and close by the end of the second half, and I think, no, with no disrespect to Brentford, but I feel if it had been a team like Real Madrid or Arsenal or PSG, I think City would have lost this game the way their performance was in the second half. Talking about Haaland, I think Haaland's game has evolved a bit this season. I mean, in the first two seasons, most of the goals that he was scoring were basically tap-ins. But this season, we have seen more one-to-one goals by Haaland, and the clinical finishing that he was famous for in the Bundesliga is he's finally showing it now in the Premier League as well. And other than that, in the first half, I think Foden, I don't know, he was very poor in decision making today. Yes, he was playing well. I think he had a good game, but I think in the final third, his decision making was very poor. When there was a chance to shoot, I think, passed the ball to some other player, and when he should have given the pass or provided an assist, he went for the shot, and the shot eventually got blocked. Oscar Bob is a very good player. I think Oscar Bob is the solution to our problems for that are arising. Uh, Oscar Bob is a solution to our problems with respect to creativity, and Oscar Bob provided. I think Bob was able to create some really good and intelligent passes to Tijani Reinders and some other players as well. It's just that City was not able to convert them, as I said. In the second half, City's game switched off completely, and had it not been a brilliant save by Donnarumma, I think the scores would have been level. Scores would have been level, 1-1. And I have this one problem with Manchester City. They are just so lethargic on counter attacks. I mean, there are so many teams who are so good at counter attacking. Whereas City, I don't know, it has been the problem since the past 3 years that when there's a chance of counter attacking, the opposition players are in your box and you have the ball to progress it and score a goal, a fast goal. I don't know what they do. They are progressing the ball, and suddenly the player, decides, no, I'm not gonna give an assist to my striker. I'll rather cut back and wait for my other players to arrive, pass the ball back to my defenders. And in the meantime, while he is doing so, the opposition players get the opportunity to get back in their halves, and the entire team is now sitting in a low block, ready to defend any attack that the City players are going to throw. I mean, counter attacking, it has to be very fast, it has to have very great passing, and it has to be quite instinctive. City, I don't know what happens to them during counter attacks, and I'm just so fed up with this sort of performance by City. Every time this happens, in the Monaco game and the Arsenal game, um, first half they are controlling possession, they are making chances, and I don't know what happens to them that after one goal, things completely fall out of order and they're not at all clinical. Their decision making takes a hit, and this lack of converting chances into goals comes to bite them back in the second half when the opposition team, is in full-fledged attack mode, and it is when the City players actually commit an individual error, which ends up them conceding in which ends up in conceding them a goal. So I don't know how Pep will manage, and he definitely has to look into the cracks that are arising in the defensive structure of Manchester City. Um, so yeah, but the on the bright side, at least City was able to derive 3 points from this game, and Liverpool dropped points this weekend, and now the Premier League table looks like this. So Arsenal is on top, Liverpool is on second, and I think we only have a 3 point gap. There's only a 3 point gap between Arsenal and City. So let's see what happens in the coming games. I think the next game we have is against Everton. So the international break is now on, and next week we don't have any games. Neither there is an F1 race. So next week is gonna be quite boring, and yeah, for the next 2 weeks, um, there won't be much activity or much to share about. So yeah, it's gonna be tough, but time will eventually pass. So that's it from my side. Let me know what do you guys think about today's games, and let me know if there are any F1 fans in the comment section. And if you like the video, please like, share, and subscribe. It really helps the channel grow. And I'll see you in the next one.